everyone knows that male artists are far better and much more talented than female artists, right? Or is that not true? Is that statement completely out of line? Can you think of any female artists that have made a name for themselves and expressed immaculate ability? Well, I can, and that is Georgia O'Keeffe. She wasn't just some artist, she is known today as a revolutionary artistic pioneer of her time. Hi, my name is Shannon Mohammed, and today I will be discussing the artist Georgia O'Keeffe. To better understand the artist Georgia O'Keeffe, first I will inform you about her early life. Second, about her art styles and art forms, and finally, how she has changed the art world. Let's begin by looking at her early life. Her early life can be separated into her childhood years and her teenage years. So let's start with her childhood years. As stated in her biography, American Decades, her full name is Georgia Toto O'Keeffe. She was born on November 15, 1887 in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. She was the second child of Francis and Ida O'Keeffe, and also had 5 siblings. She always recalled her older brother Francis Jr. receiving more attention than her, and because of this, she always craved attention and wanted to be seen as pretty. Her mother and father eventually wanted to leave the farm that they lived on, so in 1901, her family moved to Williamsburg, Virginia without her. She later joined in 1903 and started an art program at the Chatham Episcopal Institute. Here she excelled. Now we look at her later years. In September of 1905, she started the Institute of Chicago. Here she became successful as well, but unfortunately had to deal with typhoid fever and financial issues at home. She then started another school in 1907. She attended New York City's Art Students League, where she saw her first controversial artwork display. By following Georgia O'Keeffe's upbringing in life, we can see how she ended up on her path to becoming an artist. Now let's take a look at her art style and art forms. Georgia used a few different art styles. For example, she incorporated lines. She used these to define drawings and create strong boundaries. But on the other hand, she also used this to push boundaries by drawing lines that ran off of the canvas. She also chose specific types of color, and she liked strong colors because she believed they meant energy and vitality. Georgia engaged in many art forms, such as abstract forms like flowers and bones, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica. As stated in the website of the Georgia O'Keeffe Museum, O'Keeffe developed strategies from Arthur Wesley Dow, a fellow painter. She later credited him as an influence and produced the artwork Blue, Black, and Gray of 1960 in his honor. Now that we have glanced at her life and her art style, let's discuss the impact her art had on the world. Georgia O'Keeffe made impacts in a variety of ways. She was not a typical artist of her time, which was the early 20th century. From esteemed website The Art Story, we learned that her style was not mainstream for her time because many painters either abandoned painting altogether or painted opposing styles. She was unique and was not part of any art movement of her time as well. Georgia became the mother of American modernism because she was one of the first to produce artwork such as close-ups of everyday objects and landscapes. She was also the first female painter to make a name and gain respect in the New York art world of the 1920s. Georgia O'Keeffe began a career with art during her teenage years, and although that was a later start in life, her talents were immediately shown in the art world. As she grew older, she expanded her art styles and forms and made the art that she chose to express herself with. Her sense of uniqueness made her an important figure in the art world even after her death. Today I discussed her life and her art styles and forms, and then I also discussed the art and its impact on the world. In conclusion, Georgia O'Keeffe was an artist who was confident enough in herself and her abilities to produce artwork that she felt expressed who she was as a person. And as a result of this confidence, she became one of the most successful female artists of all time. This is an example of how important it is that we believe in ourselves and also acknowledge and embrace our uniqueness. This concludes my speech on Georgia O'Keeffe. Thank you.